Hello? How are you doing? All the other TIs out there, how you doing? Right, this film's about electromagnetic weapon defence. I think I've got a lot of good ideas here which you can work with for like getting yourself away from these things. Okay. Um, so I've been finding out about it, and a little bit of a science lesson first, alright? Which is basically I found out like that everything in the universe really is an electromagnetic wave or a particle. I know it's all about energy as well, but that's not got nothing to do with this film. Okay, at sort of like a certain level, it's electromagnetic waves and particles. Particles is matter, and electromagnetic waves is things like colour, sound, and certain types of radiation as well, like sort of X-rays or gamma rays. Okay, um, with these electromagnetic waves, it's interesting because what I've come to realise is it doesn't matter how you're being harassed. If you're being harassed with electromagnetic weapons, whether you're getting colour harassment, you know, with the colour red, everything's red or everything's white, or you're being harassed with sound, like me, I get that a lot. It basically comes down to electromagnetic waves. It's all wave-based harassment. And this is interesting, you know, because all waves have an electromagnetic component, and that's why it works. Okay, because the human body, right, works with electricity and magnetism as well. Okay, so what it basically does is it projects a certain frequency of electromagnetic waves into your body, and especially into your brain, and your brain will align to them because they're electromagnetic, and your brain waves are electromagnetic as well. So they're drawn to each other like magnets, you know. So if they're like I don't know what kind of frequencies they're using. If they're bombarding you with, I don't know, 200 hertz, you know, your brain will start working at 200 hertz, and you know, and they'll be using whatever frequency brings out like the fight or flight, or sort of just unpleasant experiences, really, you know, like depression and sadness. Like it all works on a certain frequency. You know, and you hear about people raising their frequency to get higher. That's what they mean. Okay. So, and it's all good science behind this, but there's a lot of like spiritual stuff aligned with it as well. You know yourself. You know, if you go out into the countryside where everything's green, you feel relaxed, and what's happening is your brain and your body's being bombarded with the electromagnetic frequency of green, which is a calming frequency. It's a frequency which can send you to sleep even, you know. The shaman's drum, okay, what the shamans do is they use drumming to get themselves into a trance, which is the theta brain state just before sleep, and they use a certain rhythm to do that, and the reason it works is the same thing, you know. This like that, every time that goes in, it's magnetic. The wave is magnetic, and if you do it for long enough, your brain will align to it, because your brain waves are magnetic as well, and they can't help themselves. It becomes a cycle, you know. And I'm sure it's got a lot to do with how women's bodies align themselves with each other as well, if they stay long enough together. It's electromagnetic waves, you know. Okay, so the shaman's drum, you know, they use 4 to 7 beats per second, and if you do that between 12 and 15 minutes, you get into a trance state, you know. And it's sound science, you know. It's all about magnetism. So that's how this harassment all works, you know. So the reason they use the colour red a lot in sort of colour harassment is because it raises your heartbeat. It raises it, or you know, it's kind of it's a bad danger sign to the, and it's because of the frequency of it. You know, if you look at red long enough, you'll get angry. And it's funny actually with the you know the story about the bulls and the bullfighting. We all know that they use red, and something you might not know is actually bulls are colourblind. But if you was to do it to a human, it would work. You know, because red does have that effect on us. You know, so that's why they always use red. So you'll never get someone who's getting colour harassment with the colour blue, violet or green. You know, because it wouldn't work as well because it's a calming colour. The frequency's all wrong. So they use white as well. I think I don't get this colour harassment. It doesn't happen to me, but I know it's effective, and you know the reasons why now. Okay, so that's how it all works, and if you understand how it works, you've got a lot better chance of defending yourself against it. It's like if you're getting the colour harassment, if you could get a pair of glasses with a green filter, okay, or a desaturating filter, that would actually lessen the harassment. And you're actually like, so you're changing the frequency of it. If you could get glasses that turned everything green, I bet you'd be able to get away from that harassment. It wouldn't work on you anymore. Because that's what it's all about. That's why it works. That's why when you listen to music, it has a certain emotional impact on you. A lot of it is about the frequencies that are being fed into your brain, and your brain is aligning to them because of magnetism. Okay, so with that in mind, you know, what you need to know as well is I've been looking at, so I bought this magnetic therapy book, right, and I learnt a lot of this stuff out of that. I'm gonna show you it now, because if you're getting harassed, you might want to get this book as well, right? Because it talks a lot about that, exactly what I've been talking about now, but into more detail. Okay, so with magnetic therapy, this can help you with your harassment, by the way. Your blood is magnetised. Okay, all the cells in your blood have a magnetic polarity. So as they're going through your bloodstream, the polarity is all mixed up. Some of them are facing that way, some of them are facing that way, and that way. And if you imagine if we put a load of baguettes into a river, all sort of willy-nilly, all over the place like that, they get tangled up with each other as they go down the river. They don't go down very well. But if you used to put it all in a line like that, they'd flow really nicely down the river. And that's how this magnetic therapy works. It basically aligns the polarity of your blood cells so your blood flows better, you know, and it's supposed to like reduce your blood pressure. Okay, it makes healing quicker. It does all sorts. I'm out experimenting myself. I got this yesterday from Argos for 20 quid. It's a magnetic bracelet that you just keep on all the time, and I'm giving that a go. You know, I think, you know, the effect will be quite small. You know, it's not sort of like a magic pill or anything, but if you add up all the little things, it's going to help you. You know, like if you're getting harassed with colour, you know, you can use magnets. You can use filters for your glasses and things like that. Okay, so where are we now? Right, it's funny because as I was reading it, I come across loads of stuff that we could use. Right, and one is, if you get into this magnetic therapy, which means like putting different magnets on different parts of your body, and it can like really make you feel better, deal with anxiety and things like that. If you've got a pacemaker or something like that in your body, you're not supposed to do it. And the reason is that these magnets can like destroy or make the pacemaker go wrong. And I know a lot of people think they've got chips in their body. And what I'm saying is, if you might be able to use magnets to destroy it. Okay, and that's what my idea is anyway. Coming round another way as well is like I noticed the other day on YouTube how easy it is to make an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse weapon, which basically destroys electronic equipment. Okay, now you wouldn't want to use one of these on your body. Don't do it, because it's going to be dangerous, you know. But if you think that there's a chip in your watch or something like that, you could EMP it. You may well destroy the watch along with it, but the fact is, if you think about it with EMPs, you know, it's something worth learning how to make one, because you never know when it's going to come in. If you've got one handy, you know, if you know where one of these electromagnetic weapons is, you could possibly attack it with an EMP, you know. And I'm not sort of like recommending it or even suggesting it. I'm just saying it's possible, and they're very easy to make. You know, it sounds like a complicated thing, but it's basically an electromagnet with a break in the wire. This spark goes across it. That's all it is. It's not that complicated. Right. Okay. So blocking. I had a few ideas for blocking. Okay. Now I've got this information, it's interesting because a lot of people swear by tin-foil hats. You know, they do use them, and they don't use them because they don't work. But now I've come to understand the science behind it. I can see how they could be a lot better, and I can see what they're doing, because they're not actually blocking it at all. They're diffusing it. You know, the electricity in these waves, it's hitting on the foil and it's diffusing all across the foil, but it's still going to go in your head. But it's kind of like taking a bullet and making it really wide and thin, instead of like it's a little point, it hits a big area and you sort of spread the pain about in a larger area. That's what a tin foil hat is going to be doing for you if you're using one of them. Okay. So what's come to my attention is you can make them a lot better for a start if you used an insulating material underneath. Okay, and so if you had tin foil over the top of rubber or the kind of plastic that they use on wires, that would like increase the effectiveness of these things quite a lot. You know, and I'd bet money on that. I don't use them because I don't get harassed a lot in that way, but it makes loads of sense. Alright, so you can do that. There's also, while I was reading this magnetic therapy book, they were talking about something called a geopathic stress neutralizer. Now, you can buy these things, and what they do is they neutralise harmful electromagnetic waves, which is what you're being bombarded with. The reason they come up with them is you put them in your room, in your house, just to deal with the frequencies that are coming off your TV set and your computer and things like that, and your microwave, you know. But obviously if you're being harassed with electromagnetic weapons, these things could be like really good for you, you know. So have a look into it, because it's worth looking into. Crystals and stones. The more you look at the science of this, it makes sense that a lot of people talk about a certain kind of crystal or stone being useful to soak up electromagnetic weapons, the electromagnetic waves. And this all has scientific good basis, so it's not rubbish, you know. These stones that they're using, they do work, okay, because they vibrate at a frequency which tends to soak up these bad frequencies that you don't want. Okay, So what I've done is, the other thing, I've done a bit of design work with this new information. What I've designed is an electromagnetic weapon defence wall. So if you're, say, in a room and you think, oh, I think the weapon's coming from my next door neighbour through this wall here. Okay. I don't know how you can find out. I mean, you can get detectors to detect it. If you can find the wall that they're coming through, you could build something like this wall that I've designed there. Okay. So this is like the electromagnetic wave coming through here that you don't want. And then I've got this first wall, okay, is a copper or something else that's conductive. Works the same as the tinfoil hat basically. It's going to like diffuse a lot of the electricity and the magnetism that's coming through that, so it's not as targeted into your body. After that, I've got a rubber or the kind of plastic that they use in like wires. I've then got that, okay, and that's gonna, so first you're diffusing it, then you're insulating it, okay. That's basically, if you diffuse it first, you're asking the insulation to do a lot less. You're spreading it out over this whole area, so this insulator is going to work a lot better, okay. And then what I suggest is this surface here is painted with a good colour, like violet, blue or green. Now green will actually send you to sleep, so be careful with that. Might not help you that well, but violet is a great colour for keeping you calm but still awake. So there's all these things, you know, and with all these three things together, you know, you're gonna get rid of a lot of that harassment. Okay. So that's out there. Okay. Yeah, earthing. Okay, so we're electric beings. Okay, our bodies are electric and magnetic. And back in the day when we didn't walk around with shoes and that, we were much more connected with the earth. And our shoes are actually like disconnected us with the earth's electric and magnetic field. And it's not good for us, because then we get a lot of positive charge inside our body, which gives a lot more for this harassment wave to latch onto. You know, you understand, if your body is more magnetic, your body's going to latch on to the frequency of the harassment a lot better and a lot easier. Okay. So what you can actually do is you can earth yourself out. Now, I don't know how often you've got to do it, but if you're not earthed out at all, it takes 80 minutes to get to totally like neutralise. And what it does is the earth will fill your body with negative polarity, okay, and it will balance it out. So you've got less polarity, you know. The way you do it is with bare feet. You need to stand on damp grass, beach sand, soil, concrete or brick, but it's got to be unpainted, ceramic tile or a grounding mat. Obviously, I don't think you've actually got to just sit there. You could like sit, you know. I mean, if you're lucky enough to live near the beach, if you like sat on the beach for 20 minutes every day, I think, you know, you do a pretty good job of keeping yourself neutral, you know. Okay, so the other thing is diet. Now, they put electrolytes in a lot of these like fizzy drinks and stuff, and they're called electrolytes for a reason. I don't know if you've noticed, if you drink them things, how you get a bit stressed and your heart starts racing. That you don't even have to be pointed electromagnetic weapons at, because just the electromagnetic waves that are naturally around just from TVs and stuff, that's enough. you know, for it to get to sort of latch on to these electrolytes, and they're going to be changing your frequency, you know. So I suggest, like, if there's electrolytes in like the drinks that you're drinking, I wouldn't drink them, you know, because they're attacking you in more ways than one, you know. You need to be careful of sodium and salt intake, okay, because salt creates positive charge in your body, and I know we need salt, it's important, but it's important not to have too much, because you're going to get too much positive charge in your body, and these electromagnetic weapons or whatever harassment, even like the sound harassment and the visual harassment, will have more an effect, because it's got more, like I said, it's got more magnetism to latch onto. Okay, so the recommended daily allowance of salt is 4 grams, and sodium and salt, I think there's similar, or there's sodium in salt or something. I'm not totally sure the exact science, but it's 1.6 grams of sodium or 4 grams of salt. Okay, and you know, if you have more than that, the weapons are going to have more an effect, and you'll be raising your blood pressure as well, because that's what salt does, and that's why it does it, because of electricity. And the final thing is exercise. You know, if you do a bit of exercise, and you're gonna like lower your your resting heartbeat, again, it's gonna help you big time. You know, it's going to be less positive charge, and there's less for this harassment to latch onto. You know, so that's it. That's what I've done, and I hope you find it useful. You know, and I'm sure it would be. You should do your own research and check out my research if you agree with it. You know, if you don't, I'm sure you will though. If you're getting harassed this way, give it a go. You know. Okay, see ya.